Hello, everyone, and welcome. We are here today to explore this year's theme of growth, planning, and success. But first, I think some introductions are in order. I am Maximillian Venskus. I am a peer tutor and academic coach here at the Cerullo Learning Assistance Center. I'm CRLA Level 1 certified, and I tutor writing, psychology, communications, among other subjects. I'm going for my associates in history, and I have an expected graduation date of 2026.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a real honor to be here at the 4C Virtual Tutor Conference. I see a good amount of folks, which makes me happy. And you all might know what it is to explain the same concept for the third time in three different ways to your student. And then your student says, I think I get it now. My name is Sparsh Gandhi. I serve as a professional tutor and a supplemental instruction leader at Cerullo Learning Assistance Center, which is also called CLAC. I'm also a student pursuing my bachelor's in information technology at NJIT, which means I spend my days toggling between being tutored and being the tutor. Now, that dual perspective has taught me something really important, that tutoring isn't just about answering questions, it's about helping someone to plan their way forward. And that's why today's theme, growth, planning, and success, resonates so strongly with me. Being here with all of you, tutors, coaches, SI leaders, and few learning center professionals, feels like coming together with a group of people who speak the same language. We all know that what happens in a tutoring session is just one part of the story. The real magic happens when students, tutors, and centers plan for what comes next. And here's our incredible team, the people who guide our programs, support students, and make planning at CLAC come to everyday life. At CLAC, we see growth planning and success every single day. We see it in our students when they tackle a subject they once feared and walk away with confidence. We see it in our tutors when they take on new roles, learn new skills, and become leaders in their own way. And lastly, we see it in our center as well. As our program expand, our impact grows, and we are able to meet the evolving need of our campus. Well, the truth is, growth, planning, and success are all deeply connected. Growth gives us the motivation to plan. Planning gives us the structure to succeed, and success fuels further growth. So, as you can see, it's like a cycle, and that's the reason centers like our thrive. So, today, Max and I will take you on this journey, starting with growth, moving through planning, and arriving at success, showing how each applies to students, tutors, and center as a whole.
I'd like to start out with growth and a proper mindset. So it's worth noting that growth isn't a journey. This starts out with the overcoming of obstacles, which then build up to even greater obstacles, which then need to even be surmounted again. But someone's already talked about how mindset impacts this in a much better way than I think we have time for here. Last year's keynote on the 4C YouTube channel explores the difference between fixed and growth oriented mindsets. I'd highly recommend that you check them out, as if you do, it'll give a lot more of a base knowledge for what we're going to be talking about in this year's theme of growth, planning, and success. Growth is visible in three key places: within the student, within the tutor, and within the center as a whole. So growth in the student should be easy to see, right? Better grades. But experienced tutors probably know that there's much more than just better grades when it comes to students' academic growth. One example is an improved outlook. A student with better confidence is absolutely showing growth. And here, at Bergen, students are encouraged to become independent learners and should be facilitated in every way to do so. So I'd like to talk a bit about a student that I had that I think perfectly exemplifies this year's theme of growth in growth planning and success. When they first started coming in, They were really worried about their essay performance. They would come in panicked and backed up on work, and there was low productivity within sessions as the one essay that we'd been working on for the past 2 weeks. We'd been writing and rewriting it and rewriting it, and it just really wasn't going anywhere. It wasn't getting any better. So, throughout the semester, we realized that the problem was not in the writing. The writing was fine, it was in their confidence. Once their confidence improved, we noticed that the increased confidence in essay performance led to them coming in with work planned ahead. And that in turn led to high productivity within the sessions as we were now working on forward work that wasn't all the way backed up. Here at CLAC, we facilitate growth through a variety of services. Our walk-in center provides students with a quick and dependable way to solve problems. Our planned sessions provide a scheduled and personalized time for growth. Embedded tutoring offers students help when they need it, within the very classrooms they're taking. And certain boot camps, for example, the Educational Opportunity Fund, are there to provide students with a leg up on the start of the next semester. But growth can't just be seen in the student. We also see growth within ourselves all the time. This can be seen with new opportunities, such as attending or presenting at 4C conferences, rising to new challenges, such as new positions within the center, utilizing the center themselves, which is a thing that I think is not talked about enough. I know my math grade would certainly not be looking the way it does without the center. And it's worth noting that none of this growth is linear. It helps grow other people around you, which in turn reflects back on you. This cyclical growth really helps to establish the Learning Center as what it is. And finally, the center itself grows with an increase in recurring visits, utilization of other center services by students who might have only used one before, and importantly, the lasting connections made by students and staff. As we're kind of wrapping up growth, I would like to talk about a moment of growth in my own life. When I first started tutoring here, I started a little note on my phone. I was going to fill it with all the advice I could get from tutors who had been there longer than me, from staff members, from professional tutors, everyone like that. And what I found is that this little note grew into kind of like a novel, which I keep reading and rereading and rewriting and adding to. So I take great pride in that as I view it as an extreme moment of growth for me.
Now let's talk about the P in the GPS, which is planning. If growth is the spark, then planning is the blueprint that turns that spark into something real. Without it, success is left up to chance. And all of us as a tutors know it very well that student success should never be accidental. So at CLAC, planning happens at three different levels for the students, tutors, and centers as a whole. Let's start with the center. At CLAC, planning is baked into everything we do. Our SI program is UMKC certified, where SI leaders attend classes, plan interactive sessions, and get regular feedback from their supervisors and students themselves. We also schedule workshops, exam reviews, and summer tutor training to strengthen and expand subject expertise for the next semester. Academic coaching appointments are also something which are strategically timed to meet student demand. Now, staff, on the other hand, uses appointment and feedback data to adjust hiring, hours, and services to increase efficiency. And as you can see, because of this behind the scenes planning, when the students walk into CLAC, they're stepping into a system that's already organized for their success. So when I was a student 2 years ago, and if I look at it and I visit tutoring center, I felt like I was in paradise. I have so many avenues of support, and I think that I had someone to take care of me. But now, even the best plans can run into surprises. Life happens, right? That's where our math and science walk-in center comes into place. So, it's our plan B that's built right into the system. Because if you look at it from the student's perspective, let's say they went to front desk and they want an urgent right now appointment and they don't have it because all the tutors are booked, or the deadlines overlap, or they need instant help on a very small topic. They don't need a whole 1 hour appointment. That's where our center stays one step ahead. The Math and Science Walk-in Center is fully staffed every hour with trained tutors ready to jump in without any appointment. So students can drop in, walk by themselves, or collaborate with peers, get a last minute help before an exam, or reinforce those tough concepts from the class. So it's not just the backup that we offer, it's the built in readiness that we have. And I like to think of it that because we don't wait for challenges to appear, we plan them way before they even do. So that's how every student, even in the most unpredictable moments, can still find support at CLAC. Now, one of my most favorite example of planning in action that not a lot of people know about is our amazing faculty liaison program. So, as tutors, you know that how important it is to stay connected with what's happening in the classroom. That's where our faculty liaison comes into place. They are like our bridge, connecting the center and the academic department, keeping that two-way connection alive between the tutors and the professors. So they help us see the concepts in advance, like the topics that they're going to cover. So our tutors are prepared. And if there's any upcoming project that could use some extra workshop support, we go right there. Now, on the flip side, if a student really hits a tricky concept, guess what? We can go directly to the faculty liaisons. As you can see on the right hand side, we have Dr. Mauser and Professor Samir Nijad, who are our faculty liaison for mathematics, and Dr. Chung for physics. So, this collaboration makes our planning so much stronger. And now it doesn't stop right there. They also help us find and mentor new tutors. They're the ones who will say, hey, I have an amazing candidate who would be perfect for calculus or chemistry tutoring. And that's how so many of our best tutors start their journey. They even help us shape our training programs, wherein they share the concepts that the tutors should brush up so we are aligned with what's happening in the classroom. And as I mentioned about recommending tutors, they also go one step beyond, wherein they sit in our training sessions, wherein they watch the tutors in action, give feedback, and share insights to the tutors. I remember one time in my intermediate algebra training, I was doing a concept, but it was quite tricky. And afterwards, one of my faculty liaison pulled me outside and said, Sparsh, you know what? This concept might have been done in this way. And since then, I've been using that, and it's easier for me to explain the same concept. So, as you can see, that's a real mentorship right there, built into our planning. So, from data driven scheduling to cross department collaboration, our planning doesn't just organize services, it unites an entire learning community around student success. Now, that planning doesn't stop at the center's door, it extends directly into the classroom, which is through our embedded tutoring program. This is what I like to say planning with presence. So, instead of waiting for students to come to us, we plan ahead by bringing support directly to them. Through embedded tutorings, our tutors attend class every week, working side by side with the faculty to support students in real time where the learning is happening. Now, it's not just some extra pair of hands that we are offering in the room. Embedded tutors act as academic role models. They demonstrate strong learning habits, answer questions as they arise, and most importantly, help students build confidence. Now, that's really great for those who are hesitant and won't ask questions. And this is not a service that's just an add on, but it's all possible due to our amazing collaboration with faculty and the center as a whole. So, together, we identify courses with higher challenging rates to pass, plan targeted in class support for them, and make sure that every placement of the tutor serves its purpose. And what's the best part about this is that the embedded tutors also act as ambassadors for the CLAC. Now, you might say, how's that possible? When the tutor is present in the embedded tutoring environment, a lot of students have just started their journey at BCC. So when they ask questions, the tutor introduces themselves and talks about how we have CLAC, one-on-one appointment, SI program, and ask them to visit when they are free. So that's a first step where they get introduced to CLAC itself in the classroom. And as a result, this gives a more personalized learning experience, wherein students see a united front between the tutors and the instructors. So in this case, they will feel very supported, and most likely they will ask for help, because when they saw the tutor right at the beginning of the journey, that connection that they made was very familiar and in a very trusted environment. So, in other words, embedded tutoring turns planning into presence and presence into progress. Now, planning is just as vital for us as tutors. Before every sessions, we review our past notes, read what the students want to work on, and prepare on material that meet where they want to be at. So, for example, if I have a chemistry or a calculus appointment, I would be looking at my tutor track, and there's a specific region where they have notes. So the student might have asked, I want to work on, for example, domain, range, or these specific concepts. So before the appointment starts, I, as a tutor, will look into those concepts, create some study material, and be prepared so that the student gets the most out of that session. Now, career wise, I have planned my own path deliberately. I remember I started my journey 3.5 years ago at CLAC as a intermediate algebra tutor. Then I moved up to the calculus section. And since my major was IT, I also started expanding my avenues, wherein I started doing computer science, physics, and stats. And the reason why I expanded my avenues was because there was this one particular situation where a student of intermediate algebra asked me, do you by any chance tutor INF, which is IT classes? And I was, well, I don't. But guess what? I'm going to start adding those sections. I'm going to take training if I don't have those adequate skills so that I could expand my service and be more helpful to a lot of students that we have here. And now, in this journey, I also become an SI leader, presented at 4C, and now here I am as a keynote speaker. Every step has its own purpose. Now, moving on to the students, one of the most strategic planning tools that we offer at CLAC is academic coaching. So, it's a weekly one on one meeting with a trained academic coach, which is one of our tutors, where students set goals, map out strategies, and take ownership of the learning. So, audience, think about it for a moment. Instead of panicking last week before the finals, students learn to plan their semester ahead, balance commitments, and most importantly, they get to know how to set milestones along their way. Or, as I like to say, we are not just teaching them a subject, we are teaching them how to learn. Alongside coaching, we also offer Acuplacer Prep and UF support, which are semester long, pre planned program in math, reading, and writing. Now, whether the student attends this in person or online, these programs guide them week by week plan, wherein each session builds on the last so the progress is measurable and consistent. And now, the planning at CLAC isn't just about following a schedule, it's about making planning as a habit. So, let's say, how would a week of life in a BCC student look like? On Mondays, they have had their calculus tutoring to start week strong. Tuesdays, they attend SI session to build understanding and reinforce the concepts they have learned. During the midweek, they meet with their academic coach to check on their progress and adjust goals. And as the exam is close, they attend final review sessions, confident and prepared, not scrambling at the last moment. So, in this, you see, each week was structured, steady, and intentional. Small steps adding up to a bigger success over the semester. Now, if you're still with us, let's talk about something that makes CLAT truly inclusive. We all know that every student has a unique journey. Everyone has different ways to learn the same concept, and for few students, the extra structure could be benefiting. So, for students registered with Office of Specialized Services (OSS), we offer permanent tutoring appointments, which is standing semester long session with the same tutor each week. It's not just about convenience, but this accommodation is designed for continuity, giving the student who need extra support a trusted, consistent, and a structure wherein they can have trust. And it's planning at its most intentional because when the student consistently meets with the same tutor, they both get to know each other, and the tutor is able to adjust their tutoring philosophy and strategies tailored towards that specific student. And by the end of the semester, the student has opened up. They look at tutors as a role model, friend, share topics and concepts that they have difficulty with, and most importantly, they are confident. So, all of these services, embedded tutoring, permanent appointment, faculty liaison, SI, or walk in, they all work together to show students something really important, which is that planning isn't just a single strategy, it's a mindset. We don't just prepare for what's expected, we design for what student might need next. So if you ask me about planning, I don't just look at a calendar or my schedule and see that, okay, Monday I'm tutoring this, Tuesday I'm doing that with SI, Wednesday I might be working with this specific permanent appointment student. No, I see a bridge connecting the student's first uncertain step to their moment of success. It's like when I'm sitting in the session, I try to analyze the student, and in my mind, I'm visualizing what steps I need to take in order to tailor my methods and serve him to the utmost priority, which is him. Now, I see tutors growing into leaders because they plan their own way forward. I see centers running like well tuned engines because the work was done way before the doors even opened. And that's how students, no matter what their need is, can thrive and succeed in their academic journey at BCC.
So now I'd like to move on to success. And success can be seen in a variety of ways. But I think for most of us, most importantly, is within the student. So the success in the student is seen in multiple places. Obviously, we'd be remiss to not talk about academic success. It's a really big part of what we do here. Seeing your grade get better will always put a smile on someone's face. But there are other ways to think about success. Repeated appointments are a great indicator that a student is taking initiative on their own future. Becoming tutors themselves is a thing that students can do that is a great way to add to the center's formidable improvements that are made have measurable results for the student, the tutor, and the center. This data is from our 2019 assessment of the permanent appointments program and shows that across the board, students who attended recurring tutoring did better than those who did not. Now, I'd like to take a moment to talk about class car students. These are students who, I'm sure you've known some of them, get up early in the morning, get in their car, drive to campus, attend class, and promptly go home. Now, while this is a valid way of going about your academic journey, wouldn't it be great if there was some sort of third space in which students could exist in? But that begs the question of what is a third space? Before I get into that, I would like to share a quote. Community college students, most of whom commute, have also been identified as less likely to identify with the college community than traditional undergraduates at four-year institutions, by Weiss et al. A third space is a space that is neither work or school nor home, where people can exchange ideas, have a good time, and build relationships. This would make them more likely to identify with the college community. A learning assistance center can become a powerful third space with the right growth and the right planning. But we facilitate success with many other things here at CLAC. Our college transfer essays, scholarship essay, and resume and cover letter help are all ways that go beyond just the academic sphere. And we also have study groups, which are very popular. But us tutors see success as well. From moving to other positions, for example, I went from a peer tutor to an academic coach, and Sparsh mentioned that he went from a tutor to an SI leader. Certifications and awards, such as CRLA certifications and awards at our annual tutor awards ceremony at the end of each year. Tutors also benefit from an increased sense of belonging from the same third space that is established for the students. Tutors now have a community on campus that they can engage with. And finally, success can be seen within the center in more visits across the board, award ceremonies that bring the community together, and outside recognition, such as awards from other institutions that are not within the center itself. Finally, trust is also built through faculty liaisons and gets departments involved, which is an incredible success for the center as a whole. Remember, success is our business model. If we didn't help a student succeed, we'd all be out of a job. As we're kind of wrapping up, I would just like to remind everyone that the process of success does not always go as fast as we wish. I know I, for one, intended to be out of college a couple years ago, be that for our students or for ourselves. But it is worth forging on for the rich reward that awaits at the end.
Now, as we reflect on this journey of GPS, I want you all to pause for a moment and recognize the impact you've made. Think about how you have guided, nurtured, and supported your growth of the students, and how your efforts have contributed to student success along their academic journey. I want to share a bit of my personal experience, why I do what I do at CLAC, and why it's really important to pay attention to those fine details and experiences. Over the past semester, I have had the chance to work closely with so many different background and learning style of students. And I've seen it firsthand that consistent support, guidance, and planning can completely transform a student's journey. I remember working with a student, let's call her Jane. When I first met her, she was in my SI for intermediate algebra. During that time, she attended classes, visited SI every week, but wasn't that actively participating. I saw her in one corner, sitting by herself, looking through the board, trying to understand, but not participating or trying to ask questions or gauge into the session. For further inspection, I went and I talked with her, and I realized that she wasn't sure of her abilities. And most importantly, she couldn't trust herself or thought that she could succeed because for her, math had always been a challenge. So I said, okay, let's try to solve this out. What we can do is we have CLAC where you can have one on one appointments or you can be in MS walk in, work by yourself. And lastly, you can also meet academic coach and try to make sure that you are consistently growing. So she took my word of mouth, went ahead and started planning her schedule. She went through her goals, attended sessions. I saw her sometimes in my one on one appointments, and a lot of times she was in MS walk in till 6 p.m., working rigorously and trying to build that confidence. And by the end of the summer, I saw her blossom. I saw her confidence grew, and most importantly, I saw her asking questions and being interactive, which she was reserved before. Now, the same kind of growth is visible in students with one on ones, permanent academic coaching, or whatever avenue of support they use. And when you're tutoring, it's not just about getting assignments done. That's just the first step. When you go into the deep layers, the main goal of tutoring is to make them believe in their own abilities and to make them have confidence in themselves. Slowly but surely, they will start believing when they do consistent support of CLAC and make sure that they are attending all the sessions by themselves. And by the end of the semester, many of these students are not just academically strong, but they walk out of room with confidence and assurance that they could tackle challenges by themselves. Because all we are trying to do is try to build up and have trust into them and us so that they could somehow be independent learners. And that transformation is what makes my work so meaningful at CLAC. Now, circling back to Jane's story, I watched her bloom over the summer, as I told. She had planned her weeks, followed with her goals, and she became so confident that here's where the biggest surprise for me, too. She applied to tutoring and she told me about it, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. I didn't see that coming, but okay, let's see. She passed the interview, the assessment, and now she is one of us, a tutor herself, helping other students with the same kind of challenges she once faced. What else do you need when you see these kind of examples? And there are so many examples like these in CLAC. And that's why at moments like these, I really like how that guidance that they got initially, the planning and the support, was not just some tasks, but it allowed the students to go above and beyond and step into leadership roles in their own learning. Now, to wrap things up, today we saw how growth, planning, and success are all deeply interconnected. And they show up at different levels, which is students, tutors, and centers as a whole. Max guided us through growth and success, showing how students, centers, and tutors evolve, achieve, and build confidence through consistent effort. For me, I focused on planning, how it serves as the backbone that allows the growth and success to happen. Together, we have seen how careful planning, consistent growth, and deliberate effort combine to create real, lasting success for our students. Each element, growth, planning, or success, relies on the other to be fully realized. And when all of them come together, that's when we can strengthen the tutoring experience and truly help students to thrive. Thank you all for attending, reflecting, and engaging with these ideas today with us.
Thank you, Max and Sparsh. Thank you very much for sharing your wisdom with us. Reminders to everyone, we would like you to fill out an evaluation form before you leave us for today. I did just share that in the link. That should be shared with you at every session you're at. We have session 3 starting at what time? Well, it's different time for everyone. In about 20 minutes. Thank you. Yeah, I was trying to do math and look at charts, and that's not easy for me to do. So about 20 minutes, session 3 will start. Thank you everyone for being here. As Max and Sparsh said, building confidence in our students is important. Sharing your voice allows them the freedom to share their own voices. So thank you, everyone.